Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Hey, it is so exciting today because we are on day 12, right? So day 12, I don't know what's magic about day 12. 12 just seems to be a wonderful number because you're on the downhill, right? You've hit the summit, you're on your way down to hitting the greatness that is within you. And so as you know, when I say day 12, after you've made a decision, you decide you're going to do it, and now you continue to do something every day to make greatness. And so one of the things I want to say before I tell you what we're talking about, I want you to say stop it, stop it, stop it, and stop it. And you ask me, why am I saying stop it? Because what is happening, or what tends to happen is you start comparing. And so today I want you to make sure whoever you're comparing yourself with, stop it. Because you've been doing this now for 12 days. And most of the time you start comparing yourself to somebody who's been doing it for 12 years or 12 months or 12 weeks or much longer time than you're doing. And sometimes they just have different experiences that make them better at something than you are. And so you look at, one of the things when we go to one of these events or we watch somebody and they tell us all the things that they've done and they're telling you what they're doing, not realizing that their journey started 2 years ago. And they had to go through the ups and downs and doing the things that we're doing in order to make it happen. Today was exciting for me because I got to participate with a lady named Kim. And so I participated with Kim in her first podcast. And so she allowed me to be a guest on her podcast, and we got on and we were able to discuss beforehand, which I would do for anybody. If anybody wants help doing it, I would love to help you. But we discussed firsthand, even to the beginning where she says, okay, what do I say to start my podcast out? How do I introduce the podcast? How do I introduce myself? And it put me back in the time when, now that I've done hundreds of podcasts, I don't ever think about how am I going to introduce my show. I know how I'm going to introduce my show because I've been doing it hundreds of times. I've gotten good at it. But to see her in the enjoyment and the excitement of the anxiety and the anticipation, but more than anything, that she was doing it. And the joy that came from her going through the steps of introducing her show, then having the questions. She went through, these are the questions I'm going to ask you. And in my mind, we don't have time for all those questions that you're going to have, but you're going to pick the best ones. And then you're probably going to ask me some other ones because that's just how it goes. But she doesn't know that. She hasn't done it before, right? And so we go through the podcast and we're answering and we get to the end and she's so excited because she said, I did it. I told myself I was going to make a decision. I made a promise that I was going to do it. And then I kept the promise to myself. Then she looked up and said, you know what? We talked for 32 minutes or whatever it was that we talked on her podcast. She goes, how do we get that far? I said, you're going to be really good at this. In fact, you're going to be phenomenal at it if you don't stop. And if you start comparing yourself to, looking at, I said, okay, so maybe you can have, one of the people at the office help you put an intro. Maybe you can have, because if you look at my podcast, I've already done all those things, right? I've already made those failures. I already have intros to my outros. I have, these little videos that go in the beginning of it and all those things that we have on. And then I know how to pull stuff out of my guest, right? Well, she's got to go through that stuff, which is incredible. But the biggest thing is she started it. And so now, like I said, stop comparing to what others have done. Do what you know how to do and compare yourself to your progress. So if it was, I told myself I was going to read a chapter a day, and then all of a sudden today you read an extra chapter, you read 2. All right, so now you can compare yourself to the progress. Instead of somebody who goes on and says, hey, well, I've done this. How about the person who goes to the gym, right? Well, and they look good and they're skinny and they have all the, ripped abs and everything else. You think that happened the first week they were in the gym? And then you're comparing yourself. And then maybe they said, well, I was able to eat really well when I first started. Well, there's some pretty good experiences from before that because you probably cheat all the time, which is okay because you're comparing yourself to your progress. So today, stop comparing. That's what day 12 is all about. Stop comparing to other folks, online, in person, all around you. Compared to your own progress, and you will achieve your goals. So have a wonderful, awesome, just incredible day today. Don't forget your God's greatest gift. You got this down. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.